G'day guys, Harry here from MITS Alloy. Today we're going to do the much anticipated second part of our MITS BT50 build series. We're going to discuss what we've changed since part one. If you haven't seen that video, we're going to link it down in the description, so make sure you go and check that out. But today we're going to be discussing what we've done over the last 70,000 Ks, the mods that we've changed, and my thoughts and opinions on everything we've fitted to the vehicle. Let's get into it. So if you saw the first video in our BT50 build series, you'll know it was fitted out with a fair few mods right after we took delivery of it. That included the TJM bull bar, the Kumo 265/75/16 steel rim combination, as well as the Lovells 3.5 ton GVM and GCM upgrade, amongst all the other, steady lights, GME UHF, all those sort of normal modifications. Now, since then, what we've actually done is we've fitted a few more. We haven't gone overboard, but we've done the Safari snorkel, the front runner roof rack, as well as a tag tow bar, and the vehicle has been tuned by Tommy and Liv from Performance Tourers 4x4. So going into each of these mods in a little bit more detail, we fitted the Kumo Road Venturer MT71s in a 265/75/16. So these tyres, while they are quite noisy, you can hear them audibly inside the cab, especially on road. They do have great manners both on and off road, even in the wet. Now, this vehicle has done of the 70,000 Ks, about 30,000 of that has been towing, like for MITS Alloy. Now, these tyres are the same as we've fitted on the MITS 79. You've probably seen that vehicle do some pretty tough tracks around the country, including the Umbagurri track, up to Cape York, Lorella Springs, and they are our preferred tyre for all the vehicles in our fleet. Around the front of the BT50, we've got the TJM Outback bar. Now, I've cleaned up a couple of roos at quite high speed with this and it has not left a single mark or blemish on the bar. I have had a couple of people ask me though, when are the side steps and brush bars going on the vehicle? Well, on this particular car, we haven't really found the need as of yet, as it does spend more often than not more time on the highway than off-road. And we often find we're going to value the weight carrying capability because it's got the GVM GCM upgrade done from Lovells as well. Adding 30, 40, 50 kilos worth of extra bar work on the car, that's 30, 40, 50 kilos extra gear we can put in the back when we go to shows. So in the bar at the front, we're running the same winch we put in our 79 series and our Ranger. It's the Runva 11XP. Now, while this vehicle hasn't had the opportunity to use its winch properly yet, you've seen it in use in the 79 off-road, and it's pulled the 79 out of some serious bogs. So across the fleet, this is our preferred winch as well. One thing we have done is we've taken the factory supplied Runva hook off the front of the winch and we've put this Sabre winch shackle on there so that when we're using our soft shackles in recoveries, we're as safe as possible. So for lighting on the BT50, we've kept it pretty simple. We've just gone for two steady Type X Pros here on the bull bar. Haven't worried about any auxiliary outward facing LED bars here or on the roof. These provide plenty of coverage and they're a great light when you're driving out on the outback highways at night. So for comms, we're still running the ever reliable GME XRS 370 with 6.6 decibel antenna. These are great. There's not really too much to say about them, they just work. About 3 months after we finished the first stage of this build, we put on the Safari RMAX snorkel. I didn't want to go too crazy, so we kept it with plastic RMAX snorkel to keep the noise down. And as well, the 800mm wading depth the BT50 has, we needed a little bit more than that for the tough tracks that we go on every now and then. So this raised it up slightly, as well as letting it breathe easier for the tune we did with Performance Tourers. So at the front of the vehicle here, under the bonnet, we've got the reliable 4JJ3 drivetrain that the BT50 shares with the Isuzu D-Max. As you can see under the bonnet here, there are a couple of things that have been upgraded. As part of the Lovells GVM GCM kit, you've got the upgraded radiator here, and because we've done the Alpha Tech tune through Performance Tourers, we've gone for the Mungie hard pipes for extra reliability. The Alpha Tech tune is a two-stage tune, and at maximum output, we're running about 180 horsepower and 580 Newton meters. So one thing we will be doing moving forward, because like I said, this vehicle does a lot of towing for MITS, we will be swapping out these factory mirrors for a set of Clearview compacts. Now, while these are okay, passable, they don't do the job when you do spend a lot of time with a trailer on. So because this vehicle does go to a lot of the show circuit across the East Coast for most of the year, we needed a little bit more storage on the roof of the vehicles for, some of our larger equipment that we take to and from the shows. Now we threw the front runner roof rack up on top there. Now this rack is super strong, super durable, although it does have a little bit of wind noise, although anyone that tells you you're not going to have any wind noise with the roof rack is lying to you. This is much better than some of the other brands on the market. So features a lot of the same principles that we have in our canopies, a tie down uni-strut rail, if you will, where you can slide bolts and that in for easy fastening down of all your accessories. 10 out of 10, highly recommend a front runner roof rack. So this BT50 is an XT model, so it was one above the base model at the time of purchase. Now, we got it very bare bones, vinyl floor, cloth seats, not even a tow bar. But we always knew we were going to put a tow bar on it, and when we did, we went for the TAG tow bar. So that's a rated recovery tow bar, up to 4.5 tonne with a bridle between the recovery points. And because we've got the Lovells GVM GCM upgrade, you can use the full 3.5 tonne rating on the tow bar whenever you're hooking up a trailer, caravan, and still weigh 3.5 tonne on the vehicle. One of the common questions we get when we do our tray fits is what happens to all the rear technologies in new vehicles like these BT50s, but the Rangers and pretty much every new dual cab ute that comes out on the market. We all know that this technology, whether you like it or not, it's here to stay. These rear cross traffic alert blind spot monitors, they're polarizing. I was skeptical at first, but now that I've put 70,000 Ks and 12 months worth of ownership on this car, I've found personally it's improved the driving experience. Not only is it safer, but it gives you more information and more feedback about the road you're on. It's essentially a positive reinforcement of what you can see in your mirrors when you're driving. So like I mentioned before, this vehicle is running a Lovells 3.5 tonne GVM and 3.5 tonne GCM upgrade. So total, you can weigh 3.5 tonne and tow 3.5 for a total gross combination mass of 7 tonne. So a really common question we get here at MITS Alloy when setting up vehicles for trays and canopies and even general off-road use is what size leaf pack or spring rating do I need for the back of my vehicle? Now our BT50 here is running a 700 kilo constant leaf pack. Now while that may seem substantial, it is necessary for the application that we've got here. We've got a tray and canopy that weighs in the vicinity of 560 kilos, all in with all the accessories, all your 12 volt systems, everything like that. And by the time you go and throw your gear into that, as well as, potentially putting 150, 200 kilos on the tow ball, you'll find that even then, you are getting towards the upper ceiling of that number, 700 kilos. So it's always best to really plan out your build first with all possible worst case combinations of how much weight you're going to be carrying, so you don't leave yourself short halfway through the build. So carrying a lot of extra weight in the vehicle and increasing the tyre size did mean that we were seeing an increased fuel consumption. Now, while it's not too bad on the highway, especially around town, we did see the litres per 100 climb up to around the 14 or 15 mark. So quite high considering when we first got the vehicle, it was around the 7, 8, 9 mark around town. So given that one of the first trips I did after we finished building this vehicle was a half lap up the centre and around the top end and back down, one of my biggest annoyances was filling up the vehicle about every 400 kilometres. So I fixed that by putting in a Brown Davis long range tank. So last but not least, up on the roof rack here, we've got our Darche 270 Eclipse awning. Now we haven't used this awning all that much, apart from the odd weekend here and there, and when we set the vehicle up to display at shows. Now while it is a freestanding awning, it does come with all the poles and guy ropes, and we would recommend you tie it down in anything other than light conditions. So inside the tray and canopy, you might notice it looks a little bit different from part 1 of this video series. We have changed from the Bushman's 85 litre upright to the ES220 Clearview drop down slide with a Dometic 75 litre dual zone fridge. Next to the drop down slide, we've updated our single drawer and table combo to include the dividers as well as the carpet on top. Now, common question I get, at least when I'm talking to you guys about our trays and canopies, is what do you put on top of the drawer here? Now, there's a million different uses of what you can put up there, but me personally, I've got a crash pad weekender bag, and for me, that leaves straight on top of that. That way it's nice and quick and easy to access as soon as you open the canopy door. Up the front, we're running the Enerdrive RV80 12 volt system. In my opinion, that Enerdrive system is one of the best bang for buck systems that we offer. It gives you 125 amp hours of lithium battery, a 1000 watt inverter, a 40 amp DC charger, as well as a 40 amp AC charger, and 180 watts of solar on the roof. It may not have the same functionality as some of the systems we offer, but it's a simple, no nonsense, reliable system for your four-wheel drive. Cool. So on the driver's side of the canopy here, we've got our dog box section. This is a completely sealed section. It comes with a divider so you can separate your gear and a dog or two dogs. You also get your cover plate to cover the ventilation here, and you get the weep holes in the floor so you can wash this entire section out. As you can see, we have given this side absolute hell. It gets used for storage of tools, equipment, spare parts, ratchet straps, all the stuff you don't want to put on the clean side of your canopy. So that's pretty much brought you up to speed on everything that's changed since part 1 of this video series. Now, really common question we get is, what is your favorite mod? So I'm a little bit biased. I mean, I'd say the Terrain canopy, but if I had to choose something else, honestly, it'd have to be the Tune, because before that, definitely a reliable motor straight out of the box from the factory, but when you do load it up to 2.5, 3, even 3.5 ton, it bogs down like you'd expect any dual cab ute to. So when we took it to see Tommy and Liv from Performance Tourers, they essentially unlocked a lot more power out of that motor with the AlphaTech Tune, and now running 180 horsepower and 580 newton meters on the second stage of that Tune. It does give it a lot more drivability, both on and off-road. It doesn't hunt for gears as much either. So overall, I'd probably say that would be the best bang for buck mod we've done for this, aside from the Terrain canopy. Another common question is, what would I change about the vehicle? I'd go right back to the start, and while I wouldn't go to a top spec model, I would at least go to one that has inbuilt satellite navigation. So the head unit in here is, while it's easy to use, it is quite basic. There's no satellite navigation, there's nothing in that. And just for an all-in-one unit, I would have preferred to have something with the satellite navigation. Now, with the kilometers and the trips and the personal experiences I've had with this car, that would have been handy. So if you are looking at a BT50, I would at least get one, if your budget stretches, to allow for one with satellite navigation inbuilt. The next modification we're going to do to the BT50, it should have, in all honesty, been done a long time ago. Given the amount of kilometres this thing has done towing, will be a set of Clearview compact mirrors. Now, like I said to you before, these mirrors do the job, but do leave you wanting a lot more, especially when you've got a long trailer on. So just to keep things safe, we'll be throwing a set of Clearview compacts on this very shortly. So my personal experience with the BT50 has been nothing but smooth sailing. I would have complete confidence getting in this vehicle tomorrow to drive it around, you name it. I would take it across. One trip on my list is still the Simpson Desert. This will be going across the Simpson Desert with me later this year. But like I said, mechanically it's been A1. Me, I'm about 6'1.5" tall, so I'm definitely not the tallest person, but I'm definitely not short either. And for me, the driving position is fantastic. The wheelbase on this car, great for putting a Terrain canopy on, providing you keep it short, around the 1765 length that we do. With a 1500 canopy, keeps the weight closer to the rear axle. Again, would I build a touring vehicle? I would absolutely choose a BT50. This has been, again, for the price point of the car, I think a really good value prop compared to some of the others on the market. Reliable with the 4JJ3. Now, polarizing, you can go on Facebook, every car manufacturer has their issues page. There's always going to be lemons regardless of what car you buy. But in my personal opinion, I have seen less negative stuff about the BT50, which is why we chose this car to start with. And I'm happy that, at least in my case, it's been proved to be true. Well, that's just about brought us to the end of this build video, guys. So hopefully this has given you some insight and inspiration into how to set up your BT50 for a touring application. Now, if you've liked what you've seen here and you want to find out anything more about the vehicle, anything we didn't touch on, drop them in the comments down below and we'll do our best to get back to you. If you are chasing a setup like this and you like what you see, give us a call here at MITS Alloy or head over to www.mitsalloy.com.au for more information. Thank you.